Hello dear students, welcome to our final revision session for انج102 course. Mr. Muhammad Ahmad is going to host you today, and I hope that you would get the most benefit from today's podcast. Now let's start of the first section of my presentation, which will cover a very important or essential part of our final examination, which is use of English, vocabulary and grammar. And here we are going to have some questions on the vocabulary and grammatical rules, which we studied in this semester's course. Now let's start. We will start with the vocabulary. As you can see, we have here a table that contains 8 words which must fit into 8 gaps in the statements below. I'll give you 1 minute to read through the 7 statements and try to find the appropriate answer. Let's start. Okay, we have 8 words: found, aim, frequently, actual, impression, higher, substantial, and paste. I'm going to clarify the meanings of some words that might be confusing in the table. Let's start with found. Found is a verb which means to establish or set up. And note that we don't mean the past simple tense of the verb find. So found here means to establish or to set up. The second word is the adverb frequently, and frequently means often. Actual, and actual is an adjective which means real. Hire, which means to employ or offer a job. Impression, an impression means an idea or opinion of what somebody or something is like. And as they say, first impressions last. Substantial, and this is the final word, which means large in size or number. So when you say substantial amount, means big amount of or large amount of something. Okay, let's come to number 1. This story is about dots events. It's dots on something that happened to the author. I know that you are all brilliant and most of you have guessed the right answer. This story is about actual events. It's based on something that happened to the author. Let's come to number 2. When companies want to dot someone, they often advertise the job online, and here we need a verb which means to employ, and the right answer is hire. When companies want to hire someone, they often advertise the job online. It takes a lot of money and effort to a successful business, and here as we can see we need a verb which means to establish or set up. To found, it takes a lot of money and effort to found a successful business. Number 4, most companies to increase sales from year to year. I guess you have got the right answers. Most companies, that's right, aim. Most companies aim to increase sales from year to year. Number 5, according to researchers, most young people spend a dots amount of their times on their phones, and I know lots of you do. Young people spend large in size or large in number, so spend a substantial. More young people spend a substantial amount of their times on their cell phones. Number 6, a study said that our dreams about the future were frequently Yes, we're often related to a past memory. It's important to make a good first at a job interview. It's important to make, guess what? Yes, a good first impression at job interview. Now let's move to the grammar section. We have here, choose the correct answer. Let's come to number 1. We not be able to record our dreams in the future. We have 3 choices. We might, we are, and we can. So the right answer is we might be able to. But why did you choose we might? We chose we might because it implies possibility. In other words, we can say it would be possible to record our dreams in the future. Can and are not suitable choices here. We cannot say can be able. We say we will be able to. And we cannot say we are be able to. This is incorrect. Let's come to number 2. My sister is very busy at work this week, so I probably don't see her. And we have 3 choices. I probably will, I probably won't, I probably can. So the logical answer is won't. Why did we selected won't? Because the writer says that he or she will be unable to see his or her sister within this week. If the writer is unable to see his or her sister, means that he won't be able to see her. Number 3, the weather forecast says it rain tomorrow, so you should carry an umbrella. And we have 3 choices. It may not, it won't, it may. The weather forecast says it may rain. Why did we choose may? Because the writer here advises us to carry an umbrella. So the appropriate answer is may. He said you should carry an umbrella. Let's come to the final one. I don't want money or fame. Not all rich and dots people are happy. And here we have 3 choices: famous, fame, and infamous. And here we can infer that we need an adjective that describes people. So fame is inappropriate. We cannot say fame people. We have 2 choices. We have fame, famous, and we have infamous. The correct answer is famous. That's right. Famous is the adjective from the word fame. By the way, the word infamous is also an adjective, but it means having a bad reputation, which does not work here. Now let's come to the writing section. The first task in Unit 7 is balanced opinion essay. We start with the layout. In the middle of the first line, we write the title of our topic as, for example, self-driving cars. In paragraph number 1, we start with the introduction. We begin with a general idea, and then we become more specific. Then we present the thesis statement. The thesis statement means the main idea of the topic. In paragraph number here, for example, self-driving cars have both advantages and disadvantages. This is the thesis statement of our topic. In paragraph number 2, here we mention the pros or advantages of the topic. We start with a clear topic sentence. Then we use supporting ideas, which should include facts, examples, details, statistics, anything that supports your topic sentence. In paragraph number 3, we turn to or move to the cons or the disadvantages of our topics. And here, as we did with the advantages in paragraph number 2, we start with a clear topic sentence. We use supporting ideas which should include facts, examples, or details to support our topics sentence. Finally, we come to the conclusion. And here, I should emphasize that you summarize your main points and restate the thesis. It's more important to point out that when you provide the final thought, you must be neutral. You must not support any of the two sides. You must be impartial. You stand in between the two arguments. For example, in conclusion, there are pros and cons for sleeping in driving cars. Before you try a self-driving car, consider its pros and cons. Here the writer, as you can see, stands in between the two extremes. He doesn't support any of them. Let's have practice. A balanced opinion essay, practice recording our dreams. Is this feasible? Can this be feasible in the future? We don't know. In the future, we may be able to record our dreams, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of being able to do so. Now let's have the practice. Recording our dreams. Some scientists think that we might be able to record our dreams. This is a general idea or general information. Some scientists anticipate that we might one day be able to record our dreams. In this essay, and this is, as I say, the thesis statement, the main sentence in our topic, I'm going to shed light on both the advantages and disadvantages of recording dreams. Now let's start with the advantages. On the one hand, some people who are in favor of the idea, who support the idea, assume that it would be an interesting idea. Then here the writer cites some examples or some ideas to support the topic sentence. We can see what our brains are doing while we sleep. Number 2, in addition, it can bring much fun when we can show our dreams to close friends or members of the family. Number 3, furthermore, some psychologists think that it might help us understand ourselves and be more creative. Finally, it might help us solve our daily problems when ideas from the subconscious pop up. And let me clarify the word of subconscious. Subconscious means the part of your mind which notices and remembers information when you are not trying to do so or ignoring it, and influences your behavior even though you don't realize it. For example, if you, for example, hiding a fact and you have, for example, a slip of tongue, by this slip of tongue we know what is inside your mind. You are trying to hiding, you are trying to ignore it, but from this slip of tongue which comes from the subconscious, we know what is inside your mind. The verb pop up means to appear. Now let's come to the negative sides or the drawbacks of recording dreams. On the other hand, other people say it would be too embarrassing to show your dreams. Some people might be shy to show their dreams to others. Plus, we can lose our privacy in case hackers could steal our dreams and show them online. Besides, and this is another negative idea, we might confuse dreams with reality and might spoil our daily lives. Above all, and this is the most important idea, or the most important or most serious negative impact, above all, even if we ignored all the defects that we had mentioned, it would be very expensive to do. Finally, and as I told you, you must write here a neutral point of view. You must stand in between the two extremes. You must not support any of the two argumentative parties. To sum up, recording dreams can bring fun to our lives, but it might also cause us trouble if we don't consider the drawbacks. And as you can see here, this is a neutral opinion. We don't support any of the two parties. Now let's come to writing task 2, which is letter of advice. Layout. Number 1, we start with the salutation. The salutation means the greeting, and then we state why you are writing the letter. In body paragraph 1, you start with the first step or the first piece of advice. You start with topic sentence 1, then supporting ideas. In body paragraph 2, second step, you mention the second piece of advice and supporting ideas. In body paragraph 3, tip or step 3, you mention step third tip or the third piece of advice, and you use supporting ideas for your topic sentence. Finally, you end with the closing tips and reassuring phrases. Let's have practice. A friend has written you a letter asking for advice about how to start a new restaurant in Bahrain. Use your first draft from lesson 7 to write a letter in which you tell him or her about the steps he or she has to follow. Use the ideas, vocabulary, and skills from the unit. Let's start. Dear Ali, I hope you are doing well. I was very excited to know that you are planning to open a restaurant in Bahrain. It is really an awesome idea, as Bahraini people are fond of eating out and ordering food rather than eating homemade meals. I'm glad to share some ideas that might be beneficial to you. First, here we mention the first piece of advice. First, you have to do a thorough research about the food market in Bahrain. The adjective thorough means comprehensive or total. You need to do a comprehensive research about the food market here. One good piece of advice is to visit local restaurants. This is a supporting idea. One good piece of advice is to visit local restaurants to know about the popular dishes here. Another important thing is that you need to find a place near to a car park. Streets in Bahrain are crowded and parking areas are relatively few. You should bear in mind that most people here are motorists, and motorists means people who own vehicles or cars. Let's come to another piece of advice. You also have to employ professional staff that have high experience in preparing food. Your restaurant must serve clean, delicious food at reasonable prices. Then we turn to the final piece of advice. Finally, you'd better find a populous area. I mean by populous, a place that has a lot of people, that is populated or highly populated. You'd better find a populous area so that you can attract lots of customers. And here he cited 3 examples of populous areas or populous cities. Manama, Rifaa, and Muharraq are 3 good examples of populous cities. After that, we come to the conclusion. I wish you the best of luck in your forthcoming project. Write me soon and tell me about your news. Best wishes. And then you sign Ahmad. And I'd like to point out that mostly the examiner is going to provide you with a name that is different from your name, so you don't need to sign with your own name. Let's come to the third task in our course, which is writing a report. We start with the layout. Here we start with the heading. The heading consists of 4 parts. 2, and by 2 we mean the receiver of the report from, and that is you. And as I mentioned, the examiner can provide you with another name different from your own name, date, and advise you to write a name that is the date of the final exam or near to it, subject, and here you mention the subject of your report. I'm going to give you example. To the school principal from Noor Salah, date 18th of March 2024, subject the pros and cons of playing video games. We start with an introduction, briefly introduce the topic of the report, state the purpose, why you are writing the report. The aim of this report is to examine or to shed light on, and you tell what this report is examining. Indicate the source of information. This is very important. Indicate where you get the information from. Indicate the source of information used for the report. You start with the pros. Topic sentence. Benefit 1, provide details and examples. Benefit 2, provide details, examples, statistics, what you can do to support your ideas. Now benefit 3, provide details and examples also. You can write in a recent study, for example, carried out in Oxford University, they say so, blah blah, so and so. Okay, so never forget to use details, examples, or any source of information to support your idea. Then you turn to the cons. Topics sentence. Disadvantage 1, provide details and examples. Disadvantage 2, provide details and examples. Provide 3, provide details and examples, and you can also provide any source of information that, for example, in a recent survey, in a recent study, and as I told you. Then we come to the conclusion. We summarize the main findings of the report. Then we stress the complexity of the issue and the need for urgent action. Here you can involve what should be done to prevent the negative impacts of the phenomenon. If we have a serious problem or a very dangerous situation, we need to involve what should be done to prevent or halt the negative impacts of such phenomenon. Now let's read the unit task. Write a report about using technology after school. Your teacher asked you to write a report about how students use technology, phones and laptops after school. Use your first draft from lesson 7 to write a balanced report. Okay, here we start with the heading. To my English teacher from Ali Ahmed, date 15th of May 2024, subject students and technology after school, introduction. And here we give general information about our report. Technology plays a significant role in students' lives outside school. Smartphones and laptops have become indispensable. The word indispensable means necessary, or something which you cannot live or you go without, or very important. This is the meaning of the indispensable. The aim of this report is to examine the advantages and drawbacks of these devices away from classrooms. The information included herein, and this is the here we mention where we got the information, was collected from students and the internet. We start with the pros. On the one hand, technology facilitates learning. The verb facilitate means to make something easier. This is the meaning of facilitate. Students can use educational apps and get information from countless websites. This is an advantage. Another advantage of technology. Besides, social media platforms allow them to connect with their classmates, to share information and do a group study. Finally, technology provides opportunities for talented students to show their creativity. Let's move to the negative sides. On the other hand, excessive use of these devices leads to a lot of problems. First, it can cause health issues like eye strain and back pain. Another thing, sitting for a long time in front of computer screens hinders the physical activity and might cause obesity. Obesity means being fat. You know, sitting all the time with no physical activity can lead you to add weight, and this is a very big problem. Above all, students can waste their time browsing social media. Instead of studying, they browse the social media and getting access to inappropriate content. Let's come to the conclusion. In conclusion, technology can make learning easy and real fun. However, parents and educators should establish health rules to maximize the benefits and minimize the potential downsides. And downsides means negative sides or disadvantages. Now let's come again to use of English, vocabulary and grammar. Let's start with the vocabulary. Here we have 8 words, and as we have done before, they must fit into the 8 gaps in the statements below. I'm going to read them. I'm going to clarify the meanings of some confusing words. Then I'll give you a chance to think about the appropriate answers. Analyze, otherwise, values, checking in, experiment, access, addicted, and look into. Let's start. I'm going to start with the second word, which is otherwise. Otherwise means or is used for saying that if one thing doesn't happen or is untrue, something else will happen. If something doesn't happen, another thing will happen or something else will happen. For example, I'll give you an example. I have to wake up early. Otherwise, I will miss the bus or the school bus. If something doesn't happen, another thing can happen. The second word is the verb value. And value here means to consider someone or something to be important or to appreciate it. The third word, checking in. And the verb check in has different meanings, as you know. But here, it means to be online, to resume browsing, or check an account on the internet. This is the meaning of checking in. Experiment, we have the word also access. Access means to have either the right or ability to use something. Again, access, to have the right or the ability to use something, as when we say access to the internet. Access here means the ability to use the internet. Access to enter a room for staff. Here, access means your right to use or enter this room. So it means to have the right or ability to use something. We have the adjective addicted, or there is another word which means addict. Addicted or addict means unable to stop doing something as a habit, especially a bad habit. For example, when I say an addict to drugs, an addict to smoking, or addicted, for example, to the social media. Addicted to the social media means that you always log onto the social media platforms and you cannot stop this habit. Finally, we have the verb look into, and look into means to examine the facts about a problem or a situation. I'll give you 1 minute to try to answer the exercise. I know that you are all brilliant and you will do your best to answer, to do or find the suitable answers. Start now. Okay, let's start. How long can you go without on your telephone? And this is a question to all of you. How long can you go without? I guess that you got it. Without checking in on your telephone. How long can you go without logging onto your accounts on the social media? This is the meaning of checking in. Let's come to number 2. Ice cream companies often with new flavors to increase sales. Ice cream companies often experiment. Let's come to number 3. It is important to customers' needs before opening a new business. And we have mentioned that in the letter of advice. When I said you need to do a thorough research, it's important to analyze, that's right, analyze customers' needs before opening a new business. Let's come to number 4. My boss, the creativity in the people she works with. My boss means appreciate. It means values. Here the right answer is values. My boss values the creativity in the people or the staff she works with. Number 5. He needs to make money. The other bad option or the other alternative, he will have to close the shop. Here either that or that. So the appropriate answer is otherwise. He needs to make more money. Otherwise, he will have to close the shop. Number 6. Some young people are to social media. And I know that lots of people do. Means that they cannot stop this bad habit. Some young people are addicted. They cannot stop using the social media frequently. Let's come to number 7. When people have to the internet. When they have the ability to use the internet, they can find jobs more easily. When people have access to the internet. When people have access to the internet, here means the ability to use the internet. Finally, if you find out about it, I know that you are brilliant and you got it. If you look into something, if you try to find the facts about something, you find out about it. Now let's come again to the grammar section. Number 1. My company's employees are extremely dots people. Whenever you find a noun and you find gap before the noun, here you must find an adjective. So what is the suitable adjective? Professionist, professional, or profession? The right answer is professional. My company's employees are extremely professional people. Number 2. I like studying early in the morning. The writer here is an early bird. That's when I'm the most, and we have 3 words. As long as you find the most, here you must find an adjective. That's when I'm the most productive, I'm the most producting, or I'm the most produce. And let me tell you that produce can be a verb and noun. So what is the appropriate answer here? That's when I'm the most productive. This is the right answer. And this is the time when I'm the most energetic. Let's come to number 3. Farah wanted to use her cell phone. She could not because the battery was dead. We have 3 choices in order to, because, although. Think about it. The right answer is although. But why did we use although? Here we can notice there is a contradiction between the clause number 1 and clause number 2. We have 2 clauses. The relationship between them is contradiction. Although Farah wanted to use her cell phone, she could not because the battery was dead. Here that's why we cannot use in order to. We are not searching for a result, and we cannot use because we are not searching for a reason. Here we have a contradiction. That's why the appropriate answer is although. Let's come to number 4. Smartphones can be distracting. They also offer valuable tools for learning when used effectively. The right answer is while. But why did we use while? This is the most suitable answer. Here, because the writer is comparing two situations. While smartphones can be distracting, on the other side, they can also offer valuable tools for learning when used effectively. That's why we used while. Let's come to number 5. I found the homework difficult. I understood the theory. He found it difficult. He understood the theory. As you can see, here is also a contradiction, just as in number 3. I found the homework difficult. The most strange thing that he understood the theory. So we are searching for a word that expresses contradiction. The word is even though. By the way, despite can be used to describe also contradiction, but despite must be followed by a noun phrase, a noun, or a gerund. By a gerund we mean verb plus ing. As long as we cannot find a gerund, a noun phrase, we cannot use despite. At the same time, you can see that we have a full statement or a full sentence. We have subject, verb, and an object. That's why the appropriate word is even though. Let's come to number 6. Can you tell me where? Does he live? He does live. He lives. And as you can see, this is what we call an indirect question. In an indirect question, we put a question into another question. So we have two kinds of question, such as when you say, can you explain why? Do you remember where? Do you know when? Can you tell me what? If we find a question into another question, this is what we call indirect question. And in this case, we turn the question form into a statement. What does this mean? We don't need to use do. We don't need to do does. We don't need to use did. At the same time, we use it as if it is a statement. Means subject, verb, object, or subject plus verb to be. For example, do you know, for example, if I ask about where someone is, so I say, do you know where he is? Did you get what I mean? We did not say where is he. We say, do you know where he is? Because this is indirect question. A question inside another question. So here, if we can find, can you tell me where? This is a question, or inside a question, or an indirect question. So the right answer is where he lives. We don't use verb to an auxiliary like does or does he live. This is incorrect. Let's come to number 7. Because the heavy rain, they decided to go for a hike. Hike means a long walk in the countryside. Heavy rain, going for a hike or going for a walk in the countryside. What can you notice here? We can notice here contradiction. There is no matching here. Heavy rain on one side, the other side, they decided to go for a walk, long walk in the countryside. Here, as you can see, the relationship between the two clauses is contradiction. That's why we cannot use because. Because is used for reason. There is here no reason. We have two options. We have although and despite. The right answer is despite. But why not although? Simply because of the heavy rain. The heavy rain is a noun phrase. Two words that does not contain a verb. Heavy rain. Whenever we find a noun phrase, we should use despite. Despite the heavy rain, despite the difficult exam, and so on. Or also, if you can find a gerund despite not sleeping well, this is types of word which can follow despite. Despite or in spite of is always followed by a noun phrase, or verb plus ing, or what we call gerund. Let's come to the final one. The organization I work for over 100 years ago. We have three choices. We have is founded, was founded, and we have found. Can you guess what is the right answer? Or can you guess, this is a direct question, can you guess what the right answer is? The organization I work for was founded. But why did we choose was founded? Number one, we cannot use is founded simply because the writer mentioned that over 100 years ago means that something happened in the past, so this one is crossed out. Now we have two options, was founded or found. When we think about the statement or read it carefully, we can find that this is a passive form statement. The organization cannot establish itself or cannot set up itself. So mostly the organization here is an object. In this case, this is mostly a passive form statement. So the organization I work for was founded because the organization is not a human being, cannot establish itself. Was founded, and this is passive voice sentence. The organization I work for was founded or was set up. Now let's come back to the writing again. And here we have the newspaper article layout. In the middle of the first line, we write title, introduction. Here we provide a background information. Here we need to define any term, like for example cyberbullying, domestic violence, and so on. Here we have a problem or we have a crisis, and you need to define what does the word mean. So you write cyberbullying, for example, and you start to tell what cyberbullying is. Then you write a thesis statement. Thesis means the main idea or opinion of the composition. In body paragraph 1, you mention topic sentence plus supporting ideas. This includes reasons for the phenomena and negative impacts. So if I talk, for example, about cyberbullying or domestic violence, for example, I must mention either reasons for the phenomena, why does it happen, or what are the negative impacts of such dangerous phenomenon, either cyberbullying, domestic violence, pollution, any other serious or grave topic. Okay, so you need to include reasons for the phenomenon. Otherwise, you need to mention what the negative impacts of this phenomenon are. In paragraph number 2, you include another negative impact. In paragraph number 3, you can include another bad effect. Here you can add a result of a study or a research as some kind of a supporting idea. Then in the conclusion, we summarize the idea and give a final thought, and here you need to provide suggestions if possible. Okay, now let's have practice. Writing about cyberbullying. Write a newspaper article about cyberbullying, and this is a very serious problem that some young people are facing when they use the internet. Imagine you are a reporter for a local newspaper. Use your first draft from lesson 7 to write an article about cyberbullying and its negative impact on young people. Use the ideas, vocabulary, and skills from the unit. This is the unit task of Unit 9. Imagine you are a reporter and you're writing about a very serious problem that is cyberbullying. First, we start by defining what cyberbullying is. Cyberbullying means using the internet to harm or frighten another person, especially by sending hurtful or threatening messages. Undoubtedly, cyberbullying has its negative impact on both young people and their families. In paragraph number 2, here we are listing some negative impacts of the cyberbullying. Cyberbullying can significantly affect the social lives of young people by causing feelings of isolation, anxiety, and depression. It can also lead to reluctance to participate in social activities, both online and offline, and can damage relationships with peers. The word reluctance means unwillingness to do something. The victim here is unwilling to participate or take part in any kind of social activity. Some may even withdraw from social interaction altogether out of shame, and out of fear means because of fear, out of fear or shame. Here the victim might feel ashamed of something that he has done, and the criminal or the cyber criminal is threatening to disclose his secret, his or her secret. Another bad effect or negative impact of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying can have a destructive effect on students' academic performance, and this is another aspect. It can lead to poor concentration and focus in class, and poor here means weak. The victim is unable to concentrate on their studies, decreased motivation to learn, he does not have any desire to learn, and lower grades overall. It can also distract students from their studies, and the most dangerous impact, or even lead them to think of dropping out of school. The victim might think of leaving school altogether. Now let's come to suggestions to face such dangerous phenomenon. There are some suggestions to prevent cyberbullying. Teachers and parents should encourage students, should stimulate children to talk about what frightens them online. And this advice to all of you: whenever you find a cyber criminal, you should talk, you should report, they should report cyberbullying incidents. If you can some kinds of cyberbullying on the internet, you must report it to your teacher, to one of your parents. Also, young people, and this advice to all of us, young people should not publish details of their personal lives online. You should not include your personal details online to be disclosed to others. Finally, the police can intervene if the victim feels danger to their fame or lives. The final thing that the police can intervene if the victim feels danger to their lives or fame. Now let's come to the final task of writing, which is personal blog post. And here we are going to tackle something that is very interesting. Here we are going to talk about symbols in your country. We start by introduction. You set the context, identification of two unique symbols. You choose two important signs in your country, and you are going to talk about. But being unique means that it must be distinctive. You cannot find it anywhere, or not easy to find it anywhere. Body paragraph 1. Here you start to write about the first symbol that reflects your country's spirit. You describe the symbol and you explain why this symbol is important or distinctive. In body paragraph 2, you mention the second symbol, or so you cite the second symbol that represents your country. First, you describe the symbol and you explain why this symbol is so important. Now let's come to the conclusion. Here you include your final comment. You emphasize the role of the mentioned symbols of preserving the country's cultural identity. And here we are going to talk about our country, exploring Bahrain's culture. Let's start. Whenever I think of Bahrain, I think of all the marvelous things that make it special. The word marvelous means wonderful. These include art, history, delicious food, tree of life, but what really stands out to me are the values and generosity of the Bahraini people. Let me clarify that the word stand out means to be very noticeable or clear. And the word generosity means to be generous or being generous. As you know, Bahraini people are very generous people. Let's take a close look at two things that make Bahrain a distinctive nation. First, Bahraini people are mostly affected by the Islamic values. They do respect and help each other. Meanwhile, they are tolerant of other religions, cultures, and ethnicities. And here I need to clarify the meaning of two very important words. The word tolerant means willing to accept the behavior and beliefs that are different from your own beliefs and behaviors. This is the meaning of tolerant. Here, as you know, Bahraini people are very tolerant. They accept other people's beliefs, religions, and cultural differences. The second word is the word ethnicity, and the word ethnicity means a person who belongs to a certain ethnic group. We are not talking about nationalities. Ethnicities, for example, when we talk about, for example, the Southeast Asians, these are ethnicity. The Black Africans, these are other kinds of ethnicity. The Arabs, the Caucasian white Europeans, these are various or different ethnicities. And here the writers say that Bahrain is a multicultural country. Bahrain is a country that has lots of cultures where lots of nationalities coexist and work side by side to achieve their ambition. The word coexist means to live and exist together. Here you know that in Bahrain we have different cultures. Okay, they work side by side to achieve their ambition. The citizens of the Arabian nation are known to be open-minded. Really, Bahraini people are open-minded, are very respectful, and as you know, Bahraini people are very generous. Now let's come to another unique feature of our country. Another unique country of Bahrain is the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is a 32 feet high tree that is found in the south of the country. Botanists have estimated its age to be over 400 years. Can you imagine that? The Tree of Life is estimated to be a 400-year-old one. The word botanist means scientists of which study plants. These are what we call botanists. What makes it astonishing is that it stands in the middle of a hot desert with no source of water. It is not certain how the tree survives. We don't know exactly how the tree have survived for over 400 years, but its roots are 50 meters deep, which may be enough to reach the water. In conclusion, Bahrain is an outstanding country. Outstanding means excellent country, which you will never regret if you ever think of visiting it. The hospitality and values of people. Hospitality means a characteristic which describes how generous you are. You know, Bahraini people know how to welcome other people. They are very generous to them. This is the meaning of hospitality. The hospitality and values of people and the amazing tree of life are remarkable things that you would never forget. We have finally reached our final destination, our final station. I hope that you have benefited from today's podcast, and I wish you the best of luck in your forthcoming exam. I wish you the best of luck. I have enjoyed your company today. Thanks a lot, and I wish you the best of luck always.